You're going to see it very in depth in this little video, this technique of coffee stains. As you can see, all those spots there, those are all droplets of coffee. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Solomanac. I'm Saul. This is where the happily haunted are. It is great to have you here again. Today we are exploring my latest piece, but I got this wonderful barred owl, and riding on its back is a tired fairy on a moonlit night. And this piece is called, well, I used the prompt that inspired it, which is Faerie Vehicle. So it's such a funny title, and I just had to put it on here. I think it's a perfect name for this. And I figured that today it'll be a little different. First of all, this video is going to be a bit shorter, but I wanted to just talk about the experience of coming to this piece, the inspiration, why I chose this. I don't think I've really gotten into that before. So that's what this shorter than usual video is going to be about. But I will talk a little bit about some of the process as well. But yeah, let's enjoy the time lapse and let's go on a little trip into the recesses, the realms of inspiration. I'll see you there. And now we come to the Faerie Vehicle, which I have to say, I've been dreading this one. I was actually kind of annoyed by it when I first saw it. I was like, what is a Faerie Vehicle? I'm always into older things. I think when I was growing up, I was very much into, I guess, much more sci-fi, and I was collecting comics, and I loved making complicated machinery, and it's still kind of fun, though it's a lot like making a complicated assortment of branches intertwining each other, growing out of the boughs of a impressive tree. So when I saw Faerie Vehicle, I was like, what, like a car? And then I was like, oh, this could be kind of cool. What if I made like a found piece of some old fairy researcher's book in which he maybe saw some strange vehicle made up of all these crazy sticks, and almost like a Leonardo da Vinci flying machine or something. I thought that would be kind of neat, and I was getting the character of the researcher in my head. Before it goes, I just wanted to say this is all coffee stains here, and this piece was primarily coffee stains. One of the really exciting things about February this year was I felt like I would lean into making a piece. I'd belabor it, and by the time I was on to the next piece, I wanted to do something a bit different in terms of execution and the type of medium. I think there's two extremes that seem to emerge this year with February. One is either drawing heavy or the other is painting heavy. And the painting within that can be, it's either coffee stain heavy, or it's assisted by gouache, or there's a lot of gouache. And it's kind of too bad that this challenge was only 13 days, and here I am days away from the end of the month. And I think I've got 2 more to do after this. And one of them is going to be pretty big in size. You notice these have been pretty much like, I think 9x12s or 8x11. I think 9x12s. And the next one is going to be, I think, like a 20x30 or something, which is going to be the biggest coffee stained thing I've ever done, which is kind of exciting and scary, but
And then I'm adding these droplets here. This is just where the zen begins. And it was a real treat to see how the droplets dry on this paper. It looks different. I think that if that was my usual paper, the paper being white would kind of show, like, I think more differentiation between the droplets. And with this, it just made it not only more golden, but the actual texture of the paper just gives this a slightly more blurred effect, which I think makes it a little more dreamy. I think sometimes with the just mixed media like white paper, you can do this and then it's almost like all the stains call attention to themselves a little more. And with this, there's this just wonderful aspect of, it's just it's just a really interesting blurred technique. And it just kind of makes you go, wait, what is making that? How are you doing that? It's kind of neat. Discovered all that this year. But as I was making all these other pieces, and, I got behind, so I started jumping around, but secretly it was because I just was putting off the Faerie Vehicle because I didn't want to do it. And then I had this late night, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. You know why I want to do it now? It's because I'm scared. I'm so scared to get this, strange idea. I'm like, what was Brett thinking of when she said Faerie Vehicle? And then, I was looking it up, and it was giving me different ideas like a moonbeam or portals, which I thought were really cool, like interesting ways a fairy could travel. And I'd been looking this up for a few weeks. That's how long I was dreading this. A week and a half, really. But so I'd look at those things and I'd go back to writing my stories of other fairies or painting other ones. And in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, I'll do maybe some fairies traveling on a moonbeam. And I thought that was neat. And then the craziest thing happened. The other night I stepped out to go to work in the studio, and I think it was like 7 or 8 p.m. And I mentioned this in one of my walks, but this object in the sky started kind of flying in this direction almost perfectly towards me. And I thought, at first it was like just a trick on the brain, and then I thought it was like just a comet, and then it just kind of kept going, and it was just kind of getting bigger. And then I thought it was like a plane, and then the last split-second thought was, is it a UFO? And then I realized it was a bird, and its wings were moving. There was no sound, and I realized it was the white underbelly of this amazing owl. And I just got chills, and I just kind of like stopped and watched as it just swooped over me, straight over me. And I went and I just sat and just thought about that. Just the magic. It's such a gift when you get that. And this is the crazy thing is, I then went, now what do I want to draw? What do I want to paint? And I'm just still under the spell of this owl that happened to be swooping over me right when I had stepped outside. If I'd stepped outside a few minutes before, like I was planning to, wouldn't have seen it. And then I had this totally unrelated thought, like, what if I did like an eagle? Because I was thinking, I've never painted an eagle. I want to paint an eagle. And I thought, hey, a fairy could just be riding on that, and then I can make this more about reference. plus, I just felt like a story was coming with that. I love the idea of this fairy that is maybe too tired or requires the services of one of these just powerful birds of prey. And like something almost like Lord of the Rings about it. And so then I was like looking them up, and then I thought of an owl. Because then I thought, well, I want to do like a backlit kind of thing. And then I just thought of like the moon. I thought of my pet peeve that I don't like when people do ravens at night, because ravens are diurnal, they're not nocturnal. And then I just thought, well, wait a minute. I'm due to do another owl. That's a perfect bird of the night. And then I'm doing this, I'm making this piece, and I had to stop for the night because it was getting late. And then when I woke up in the morning and I was doing a bunch of stuff to, before I, have my routine, very important to me. And I'm just thinking about the events of the night before, and I just realized that owl came, and I wound up drawing an owl, and I wasn't even aware. Like, I kind of came to it organically, and before that, I had encountered an owl flying towards me in the moonlight, and it's one of those crazy unconscious moments. And there's just something so exciting about the fact that I completely forgot about this this owl that came at me. What a thing. But this one, as you can see, we're getting into all the gouache there. And I was honestly kind of scared of putting this moon here. I was like, if this doesn't work, the problem is coffee stains rehydrate. Like, I can't put much more paint right there without waiting for it to dry off, because that coffee will get wet if it touches water, and then it's just going to be messed up. And if I want to put the moon somewhere else, well, it's going to leave this big white spot there. So it was really a point of no return. But I love the moon right there, and this whole design really, this is a quicker video than my recent ones. Part of me is saying, thank God. But there's something that just really came together with this one. And again, it is such one of those extra gifts that comes along when you are doing one of these challenges, or when you're on a deadline and you just get all these creative nuggets. And if you just lean in and go after them, they just reward you in these exciting ways that your mind could not have really formulated on its own. You just have to get out there and do it. And yeah, this was just pretty exciting. And then, just to have that little fairy on there, I'm adding a little bit of gouache because I want the eye to be drawn to her. So if she's the darkest thing, if she is the part of the page that has the biggest contrast between dark and light, that's where your eye is going to go. It also helps that she's pretty much right in the center. But she's also just, very mysterious, and she's living her best life, riding on the back of a barred owl on a full moon.
All right, and there you have it. That is Faerie Vehicle. That is how we got to this point, which was a lot of fun. I just absolutely love the way that all these stains dried up. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and it would mean a lot to me if you would hit that like button. That always helps, as well as If you're able to watch the video until it's done, that also tells the algorithm, oh, this person liked it, let me find more like them. And that always helps this artist out. Part of why I'm on here is to just make beautiful things, but to share them with as many people as possible. It's the least any of us can do in this wild world in which we live. Otherwise, thank you so much for turning up here. It means a lot to me that you gave me this bit of your time. And if you'd like to experience a little more of what I do and Ghost in the Gaslight, be sure to hit some of the links in the description, the email list, the Substack, the website as well. I'd love to have you along this crazy adventure. Otherwise, see you on the next one. Take care, all you beautiful haunted romantics.